Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte. Guys, we got some really good news here on the NHL's future events. We have things planned already for 2023, so we'll be going over that today. So at the NHL All-Star Game for 2022 in Viva Las Vegas, we got some interesting news about this year's draft. We got some news about next year and what the NHL wants to do for their plans in 2023. So we're going to go over all of that. So the first one being this year's draft. So the NHL draft in 2022, it's scheduled to be in Montreal at the home of Les Canadiens in the Bell Center. Now, Gary Bettman was pretty quick to say that it may be moved out of Montreal if their restrictions in Canada aren't lifted. He was pretty visibly frustrated, and you could see that in his interview how upset he was with the situation right now in Canada with selling tickets and stuff. They are losing a lot of revenue with the Habs and the Leafs at 50% capacity. That's a lot of money the NHL is losing. So that is something they definitely want to get fixed. Montreal is expected to get the first overall pick, which is just a little shot and a little bit of a storyline for maybe the Montreal government at the very least to try and lift it a little bit for the draft. But that would definitely be an interesting story to keep an eye on, because that's something that you can't really fix. I mean, let's say they have a backup option, say in Nashville, right? Oh, we're going to do the draft in Nashville. Wait, but the past 3 years, basically, at this point, it was supposed to be in 2020, right? The Montreal draft was supposed to be in 2020. Got pushed because of COVID, right? It became an online one. Then we had a virtual draft in 2021, and now you're gonna move it to Nashville in 2022 when it was supposed to be in Montreal 2 years ago. So kind of interesting how that whole storyline has progressed. And in Montreal, there would be some major issues with the fan base if they did not host this draft, if they indeed get the first overall pick. So definitely something to keep an eye on here. It's a storyline I'll let you guys know as the summer kind of gets going, as it starts warming up here. It was 60 degrees here on Long Island the other day, and then it snowed the next day, right? So that's kind of how it works here in New York. But back in terms of the global sense, the global series for 2023 is indeed returning. Now that we're going to see the NHL have some games overseas, and you could kind of predict which teams are going to be in which games. And I think that is one of the more exciting things. So you have Switzerland, Germany, Finland, and the Czech Republic. I think Germany, I think that's a pretty easy one. You have two pretty highly identified Germans in Edmonton and Ottawa. And you guys could probably guess who those players are. I think that would be a great fit there. Germany, obviously you have Leon Draisaitl of the Oilers and Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators. I think that would be a really well televised game over in Germany. Finland's kind of interesting. I could see a couple of teams. Most notably, though, I think there are really three big ones. I think the Dallas Stars have had their Finnish presence. Another big one, obviously, the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes are almost a lock in that game. You've got Sebastian Aho, as well as a couple of other guys in that group, Teuvo Teravainen. So I could definitely see that being a fit. Jesperi Kakiniemi. So I could see Carolina pretty much certainly being in that one. I could also see a team like the Panthers. Now you've got Anton Lundell, you've got Barkov, you've got some names there in Florida that I think would be of interest. So I think those three teams, in terms of the Finnish game, I think they'll be in that conversation. Switzerland and Czech Republic, I'm not really sure. You guys should let me know in the comments down below. What teams would you like to see in each of these country Global Series games in 2023? So that's exciting that's returning. The NHL All-Star Game for 2023 was announced as well, as it will be in South Florida at Florida Arena Live. That is the home of the Florida Panthers. The event will be another weekend event, just like Vegas, right? The Friday and Saturday. Friday night, they'll have the skills competitions on February 3rd. So kind of similar to this year. February 3rd will be the skills competition that Friday, and February 4th, which will be that Saturday, will be the actual All-Star game. So that is very exciting. And we're going to have it in Florida. That's where it was supposed to be in 2020. They didn't have an All-Star game in 2021, and Vegas already had the slot for 22. So now in 23, 3 years later, it's been a 4-year build-up here for the Panthers. Yes, they will indeed have their All-Star game down there in southern Florida over by Miami. I would say they will do pretty well in terms of partying just like they did in Vegas this year. So another pretty exciting one here. We have the Stadium Series for 2023 that has been announced. It will indeed be in North Carolina, at the home of the NC State Wolfpack, Carter Finley Stadium, the football field of the NC State Wolfpack. Yes, that may sound familiar because just like the Florida Panthers, their game was canceled in 2020. Their Stadium Series game now pushed to 2023. Very exciting news here as we're going to see another Stadium Series game. And the Carolina Hurricanes will indeed be the hosting team. There's a couple of different teams that we could see in this game. In 2020, it was slotted to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I wonder if they go that same route. Or there's plenty of other teams in the local area that would definitely fit for that game. The Washington Capitals, not too far away there from the Carolinas. You have to go down a little south. The Nashville Predators, I think, in terms of trying to get more traditional non-traditional hockey markets in, Nashville would be a great team. Again, they're hosting the Stadium Series this year in 2021, so maybe they get in, maybe not. And the Philadelphia Flyers, you want to get the attendance numbers up for this game. Maybe you're worried about the lack of a fan base in Carolina. You put a team like Philadelphia in there, you will definitely get Philly fans, the diehards. And you're going to get good TV numbers, I think, from teams like the Flyers being in that type of game. So if you're slightly worried about that, you could definitely see the Flyers being in the mix for that game against Carolina. The Carolina Hurricanes showed us some really nice unis that they were going to wear for that game in 2020. They got leaked. It never got official because they didn't end up playing the game and it ended up getting canceled. So I wonder if they stick with that same plan or they go with a different jersey. So we'll see how that goes next year. So very exciting there. And then obviously the NHL's Super Bowl event, the NHL Winter Classic. Now this was a little bit shocking, not because of the team or anything of that matter. It's the fact that this will be the first time in NHL history we see a Winter Classic return to a venue that the NHL has already been before. The NHL Winter Classic will be held in Boston, Massachusetts, the home of the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park, a very famous baseball stadium, and the NHL will be returning there. So they'll be playing in the Boston Red Sox arena right in front of the big green monster, so we'll be able to see that happen again. Now, it's interesting here, the Boston Bruins have plenty of teams that are going to be interested in this game. Now, I had 4 different teams here, kind of similar to the Carolina Hurricanes. The Boston Bruins could go the full classic original 6. You have 2 really good teams in that regard. You have the New York Rangers, obviously a team that's on the rise. You could see that geographical rivalry there as well. The Montreal Canadiens, one of the biggest, probably the biggest rivalry in the NHL is the Bruins and the Habs. You would have to think that's going to be on the table. They did do that game recently. They did it at Gillette Stadium in, I want to say 2016 or 2018. So they have gone down that road before. Do they go down that same path again? I guess time will tell, but I wouldn't be shocked if either of those teams are in the mix. Geographically, I think there are 2 other kind of interesting teams to look at here. These 2 teams have played each other a lot in Stadium Series games, Winter Classic games, but the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers out in PA, I think would be really good teams to add to the Winter Classic. I'm pretty sure the Flyers played the Bruins in a Winter Classic in the not too distant past, I think in the 2010s. So that is definitely on the table. And maybe get a new team in there, right? Maybe this is one of the last years of Sid. You get Sidney Crosby and Malkin in one more Winter Classic. Maybe you throw the Bruins up against the Penguins. I think there's a lot of star power in all of those 4 matchups. The only thing I worry about with Montreal is the state of the team that they are in. They're a rebuilding franchise, not looking so great. Do they want to put them on the big stage at a Winter Classic next year? That will be the big question. I think there's always an argument that they're going to have the fans to travel. That's not really an issue. It's more the team itself. I think that's the only reason I could see the Habs not getting that game slot. But like I said, time will tell. So that is it for this year and next year's NHL events. We have some updates on the 2022 NHL Draft, which is still expected to be in Montreal, but we'll keep you up to date on that. The Global Series for 2023 is returning. We have 4 different countries getting these games. It's in Switzerland, Germany, Finland, and the Czech Republic, so that's pretty exciting. The NHL All-Star Game for 2023 will be held in South Florida, the Florida Arena Live in Florida, the home of the Florida Panthers, as well as the Stadium Series game in 2023, originally slotted for 2020. The Hurricanes finally get their game in NC State, and the NHL Winter Classic. For the first time in NHL history, we will see a venue return the NHL Winter Classic to their home, as Fenway Park will get its second Winter Classic for the Boston Bruins. So guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.